I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the mall soon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. And I'll be running, possessed by a low, low voodoo. Fired up like a wolf on a full moon. And we're stuck in a la la land. The tides will turn without us. And I'll be killing time like I might be a cartoon. Take it in real life like haiku. I know we got the good vibes when pieces fall right into place. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. 'Cause you got me holding. Play me like a bass guitar. Simmer down and mash me up. Tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock. Drumming round in your red Ford. Shivers down my spinal cord. Oh, 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 oh. 'Cause you got me holding, holding. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it. And I don't need to speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding, holding. Hold on.
Tryna get my attention, tryna get your redemption. But now that I'm gone, you want me back. Yeah, I gave you everything. Gave you a diamond ring to watch it fall from your hand. I don't wanna love again, 'cause I'll be living with regret. Cause I'll be living with regret. Heard them say our best days pass us by, and most long for a place that they never find. I'm afraid I wake up when I die, and it is too late to...
What is up, LvLUp Nation, and welcome to Thursday, September 3rd edition of LvLUp Live, your home for gaming and esports news, brought to you by OTN Media. My name is Fiasco, but you can call me John. And my dapper-looking colleague over here in the polo shirt, trying to show me up here. Don't you give the eyebrow to the listeners, Joey? The people's eyebrow. It is the king of the courtside. The courtside king. Joey, what's popping, buddy?
I just realized I can't really move my eyebrows on command very well.
Oh, why not? Like, is that like, okay, well.
I don't know. I'm like trying to blink doing it. It's not really working too well. Thankfully, I play video games a little bit better than my eyebrow movement. At least some would say. Grant, maybe not so much.
Oh, right. That's fun stuff, Nation. Make sure you follow the show on the social medias as well. You can find LvLUp Live on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at LvLUp Live. That is at LvLUp Live. And while you're on Twitter, you know, I hear Joey may need some more followers, so you can find Joey at Courtside King and myself at Fiasco. We will go ahead and get those socials up in chat here for you in just a moment. And Nation, as always, if you wish to listen to the podcast version of the show, the LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. And since you're listening to the podcast, why not leave us a really cool review? I'm not going to leave a limitation on how low you can go on the reviews this week. And Joey has just found out what I typed for him on Nightbot.
Oh my gosh.
You're welcome, Joey. I think that's by far one of my favorite things ever. So thank you for doing that to yourself. For those on the audio podcast, it says, deem yourself worthy to follow the king of the courtside. Follow Joey, and it has his handles there, so it's a lot of fun. So yeah, make sure to leave a review on the podcast if you're listening there. We would do appreciate it, as reviews do go a long way to help grow and reach new listeners. So we do appreciate it if you take a moment out of your day to leave us a really cool review. So Nation, I'm hyped about this. I was geeking out about it all week. I had a lot of people from the OTN community reach out to me. NVIDIA has done it. NVIDIA has absolutely destroyed the last 30 years of their graphic card technology, because the new RTX 30 series that came out this week, Joey, oh my God, it is absolutely insane. It is absolutely powerful. And Joey, it's not even going to break the bank. These new graphic cards just happen to be one topic that we're hitting on this Thursday edition of LvLUp Live. Joey, what else are we talking about today on September 3rd?
Yes, sir. In addition to that, we're talking Riot Games partnering up with Nike for some League of Legends merchandise coming soon. Xbox heading to the Tokyo Game Show. PUBG Mobile with a new little change to their esports scene. A couple other things like Nintendo recharging you for Mario and much more.
All right, Nation, we have our topics. We know what we're going to be doing. We know what we're going to be talking about. But we can't get there yet because we have to go over our drink of choice. Joey, according to our group chat from earlier, you may be 2 beverages in already. So I'm glad to see you're pulling a fiasco this episode. I'm very proud of you. So for your 3rd drink and the official drink of choice for today's episode, Joey, what is your beverage?
I had a couple Stella Artois at dinner, but I am going with some sparkling coconut as well as about half a glass of tequila here.
Isn't that what you had last week?
These episodes run together at this point.
Or
it was like
Monday
2 weeks ago, I think.
or whatever.
I think I had bourbon last week. I think 2 weeks ago.
It's very
But I like
classy.
it. What's wrong with tequila, man?
No,
A little tequila, a little coconut, a little good time.
You forgot, like a couple weeks ago, I straight up took a shot of tequila on this very show. So I don't want to hear about me not liking tequila.
That's
love
right.
me
That's
some...
where we got our beautiful microtransactions meme from as well.
Hey, let's go. Because I am trying to be thrifty, I'm still polishing my way through my truly hard seltzer. Yes, Blake, I see you're in chat. I see that you're about to roast me. I don't even care. This is the Black Cherry Lemonade Truly hard seltzer. So I will be sipping on this throughout the episode today. I am just waiting for him to pop in chat and just absolutely destroy me. So, Joey, before that happens, I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into gaming and esports news. Let's go.
Wow, chat is not enjoying your Truly. I guess it's not truly delicious to them over there, but hey, I've actually never tried it, so I can't vote against you or for you, but
Haters, man.
I will respect your decision for now. Kicking things off, let's talk Cloud9. They've added Chris. I actually don't know that much about Chris. He was a former Heroes of the Storm pro. He is now a streamer. I actually don't know if he still streams Heroes of the Storm, but C9 has picked him up and added them to their streamer family as a new streamer and content creator. I think it's a solid move. Like I said, it's not someone I follow particularly. Heroes of the Storm is not the biggest of scenes either. I'm assuming as a streamer, he's probably not just streaming Heroes of the Storm at this point. He's probably diving into a few other things, whether it be another MOBA, whether it be another type of style. But in general, C9 is just like 100 Thieves, just like FaZe, in the sense that they continue to broaden their streamer range and they have people from all different walks of life, all different titles, all different genres. Another good move here, potentially with Chris.
Yeah, I like it. Streaming and content creation is a huge avenue of income for a lot of these organizations as well. Cloud9, regardless of the fact that they're one of the larger organizations in North America, still doesn't negate them from the fact that they need content creators and streamers to continue. A lot of times the pros that a lot of people attach to and want to watch stream, because they are practicing so much, because they are in competitions, they don't stream as much as the average viewer would like to see. So you have to have these content creators and streamers. And I would hope he's not just streaming Heroes of the Storm. I get it. There's a very passionate fan base out there for it. But it's a game that Blizzard openly is just not supporting competitively anymore. But hey, if you like Blizzard lore like myself, it's kind of cool seeing all those characters cross over. But I expect to see Chris do some other things too, not just Heroes. But I do like this move overall.
Absolutely good stuff with that move, but Cloud9's not done yet for this Thursday, John. They've announced a new partnership with Epos Gaming as well as their new official audio partner. Again, not one of those groundbreaking partnerships in my opinion, but it is a little bit of a move away from the norm. Typically, we see a lot of esports organizations go with your HyperX, your PDP, your Victrix, different organizations that make headsets like that. Astro is another popular one. Gosh, this tequila's hitting me hard. Turtle Beach is another big one. But Epos Gaming in general, this is one I've not really heard that much of, John, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong. But this is not, is this a subset of someone else, or is this a gaming brand in and of itself for headsets?
So Epos was originally a part of Sennheiser. Sennheiser, a very large name right up there with your Bose and your Sonys when it comes to headsets. They essentially spearheaded Sennheiser's gaming headset line. These are massive headsets, and I'm not talking price point because they are expensive too, but these are literally very, very big headsets. They are thick, they are bulky, they are just overall a very massive headset, but that's one of the advantages it offers because it has this special acoustic tuning, like in the suction cuts. Look, if you want more information on it, definitely check out their website. But they just recently broke away from Sennheiser back in February, March timeframe when they're going on their own direction with their gaming headset products. And I guess that's one of the biggest complaints people have with some gaming headsets is that the audio quality isn't that great. EPOS is going to take what they learned with Sennheiser and run with it. Sennheiser, if you're an audiophile out there, you enjoy listening to music on amazing headsets that have high fidelity, you're going to get this in a gaming headset now. You're going to be paying around $200 for it, but it is a very, very solid headset, and it is it's a thick boy. It's not going to break. You can drop it. It's probably not going to break. It is a very, very large headset, but I feel like EPOS is going to be able to develop that brand and have more of a entry-level headset into their gaming headset line too here once they actually have that time to run with their development after breaking away from Sennheiser.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a bigger win for EPOS than it is for Cloud9. Cloud9 being a very well-recognized brand worldwide currently. Usually you'd have, like I said, those bigger headset makers coming in. EPOS really finding an opportunity here to latch on to a bigger organization between contracts. I think they were, HyperX before this?
HyperX, yes.
Yeah, so before that HyperX contract got either recontinued or they switched over to something else, EPOS was able to slide in there, get their name in with a huge organization. So this could be a huge win for them as they continue into the esports scene. Alongside that, Riot Games and Nike are preparing a new League of Legends footwear and apparel collection. Shout out to D-Rod Ballin, who found this one for us first. We see special Air Jordans, Nike sneakers, team jerseys, and more. I can probably drop a link in chat, or someone can drop it in chat. John, these look pretty cool to me, though. And it's not the first time we've seen Riot Games kind of pair up with Nike. I think we saw it in the LPL for the Chinese League. A few different players, I think like Faker, Uzi, and a couple others ended up signing some kind of deals that were related to League of Legends and Nike. Now we see them going on a broader scale, though, a full League of Legends collection.
Yeah, if you're a fan of highly overpriced sneakers with characters from your favorite video game, then this is for you. I personally not a huge fan of Nike. I still rock Vans on a daily basis, so judge away if you want to. But I think this is a cool collaboration overall, though. Even if you're not a sneakerhead, if you're just a fan of the game and you're looking for another way to show your support that you're in that League of Legends community, I think it's going to be a neat way of doing it. The shoes probably will look pretty baller. Nike's been actually putting out some decently styled shoes as of late. The team jerseys and apparel, that's what's going to interest me the most. When we start to see a lot of esport organizations move the same direction traditional sports are going by going to Fanatics, which makes subpar quality merchandise that fall apart after your second wash, but still charge you the full $139 for an Overwatch League jersey, like they did last year. I actually applaud them from going to Nike. Nike does have some quality standards, if you will, without diving too in-depth into the organization itself. But overall, I like the fact that Riot Games and Nike is continuing this relationship with League of Legends and pushing out fan merch like this.
So we've seen this relationship get really messy before, too. One of the reasons is different organizations will sign exclusive contracts for jerseys. Different leagues have exclusive contracts as well. Like when we looked at the LPL in China, I believe RNG already had a jersey sponsor, if I remember correctly. So that's one of the issues that came up. Nike coming in and saying, hey, we're buying out all the jerseys for the league. And then all the organizations saying, well, we already have deals with this person. We already have deals with this distributor, et cetera, et cetera. So this one in itself, at least the way I'm reading it, John, correct me if I'm wrong, this seems like it's more game-based than esports-based at this point. But then again, you have the team jersey involvement too. So maybe this is something we see happen a little bit later this month with Worlds coming up. Maybe this is some kind of collaboration for Worlds jerseys.
Yeah, it could be something for like a Riot photo shoot where if they want them in a league, like a league brand joint, like kind of marketing push where they're not wearing their team jersey. We do see that from time to time, even in traditional sports where, they're not going to be wearing the jersey of their organization, but wearing, a jersey of a sponsor or wearing a jersey of whatever marketing push their league is going to do. So it's nothing too crazy, but I do like it, and the fact that it's going to be based more towards fans and just like the engagement with the game itself kind of reminds me a lot of the whole Secret Labs chair new brand lining for like KDA and some of the other champions that came out. You know, it's League of Legends based, and you know, some teams have sponsorships with Secret Labs, others don't, but it's so surface level that it wouldn't violate any like contracts or any kind of agreements with organizations if they wanted to get them. So I think it's going to be along those same lines, and I really like that. I really like the fact they're going to put out more quality products like that.
Well, and if you think about it too, guys, like one of the big things here is League of Legends just having so many players. Yes, a number of those players do watch the esports scene as well, but those that don't, they continue to invest in skins. They continue to buy all different customization within the game. This could be one way to hit those fans as well with a new product outside of the game too. So I think there's a lot of different people that this is going to touch. I think this could be a giant deal. By the way, guys, I don't know if you can hear all that thunder happening outside, but that is one reason I keep pausing and looking at the window because I'm afraid it's going to shatter. It's good times over here in this storm. But yeah, overall, John, I think this is a good deal. I think it's something we're probably going to see a lot of fruition toward later in the month. Xbox is headed to the Tokyo Game Show. To clarify a couple things on this, they'll be celebrating Japanese game creators and games, updates on Microsoft Flight Sim, the Japanese Minecraft community creativity experiment, showcase games broadcast will be in Japanese. This is not meant for English audiences, purely meant for the Japanese. And on top of that, there will be no new next-gen news, mainly targeting. There's not going to be big game reveals, price reveals for those waiting on those, a bunch of different things in that area. This, to me, John, is a great move. This is Xbox saying, we understand we are not quite the level we want to be in the Asian community, and particularly in Japan, where a lot of these games were originated from. They're continuing to go to Japanese soil. They're making Game Pass available over there. They're making xCloud available over there. They're continuing to invest back into the Japanese scene. They're bringing Japanese games to Game Pass. This, to me, is, I'm not going to say a target against Sony or Nintendo, but Xbox saying, let us continue to show you respect. Let us continue to come into your market, rise up and bring your creators ahead to prove, like, one, that we respect you, but two, to showcase your games to our gamers as well as the Japanese gamers as a whole.
You know, I'm going to take a different approach. I think this is low-key attacking Sony directly. Sony has such a stronghold on the international market when it comes to video game consoles, that this is Xbox, you know, saying, hey, look, you know, we compete pretty well in North America. We compete decently in Europe, but let's grow this substantially all over the world. Let's take it straight to Japan. Let's take it straight to the Asian markets. Let's show them what Xbox is capable of doing. Let's show them what we want to do for Japanese game studios. Let's show them why they should be choosing Xbox over PlayStation. That's the way I interpret it. I'm not saying it's a negative thing. I think competition's good. It'll help drive prices down so we don't get a next generation of console that's around $600, $700, $800. Again, you know, there have been some speculations on those price points that we've talked about here before. But I do think Xbox heading to the Tokyo Game Show is in part to directly go after Sony's stronghold in Japan.
And I don't think that's wrong. I think that definitely is part of it. To me, the bigger picture here is I think they want more Japanese games on Game Pass. We saw like Yakuza come over recently. There's a number of other ones they're looking at, like Dragon Quest, I think is the name of it. So a lot of these different games they're trying to bring to Game Pass that are exclusive to PlayStation usually. Now we're starting to see them come back over to the Microsoft side. Not exclusively. They're still being on Sony. Some are still on Nintendo as well. But I think they're trying to get, I'm not going to say in the pockets of the Japanese, but more in their mindset, where Japanese people might think Nintendo, might think Sony or PlayStation. I think Microsoft wants them to start considering thinking PC and Xbox as well in that area. I think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to have a huge turnaround. But at the same point, I think this starts slowly getting more market share for Xbox over in Japan. But on top of that, I think the relationship continues to strengthen as well. And to me, I'm just going to mention this again. I think the biggest thing is the fact that they're broadcasting it in Japanese. So this is something that they're not focusing. If you look at every other Microsoft conference, it's always been English is the main language. Everything else is available. They're not doing something specifically for a country in Europe. They're not doing anything outside of North America, really. They did Mexico, and I think that one was still English as well. But yeah, this one's Japanese. This one's completely in Japanese, not catered at all to an English audience, purely for the Japanese people. So I'm curious to see, again, how this is going to end up weighing out on the grand scheme of things. But overall, I like the idea of Xbox going to the Japanese home soil, presenting it here, and also respecting the creators from there. So we will see on that. One thing that we're going to see crystal clear, though, John, is the new NVIDIA graphics. We talked about them earlier in the show. Those cards just got unveiled this week. Go ahead and break us down a little bit of what we're looking at, what cards got unveiled, and what that means for the next generation of gaming on PC.
Gamers, look, I'm going to be honest with you. If you have a gaming PC and you are not in the know, here, let me go ahead and link this in chat for everyone. This next generation of graphics cards are going to put every generation prior to shame. For example, the new RTX 30 is significantly more powerful than the current generation 2080 Ti. Yes, the same card that goes for well over $1,000 is being blown away by the entry-level RTX 30 series card, and it's not even close. The price tag on the entry-level card is $399. $399. Now, this is also just the base model of the card. You know, this is before your Asus, your MSIs, your Gigabytes, your every other company in the world that takes that base model and modifies it to make it even better or fit their customers' needs. This is the legacy model, and it is already freaking incredible. The RTX 3070 is going to be your next step up. Then the 3080 and the 3090. 3090 is going to be your top of the line. That one is well over $1,400. That is an absolutely massive card. I believe they even took it out of the oven when they revealed it on stream. It was kind of funny. But Joey, the one thing I really want to point out here is that, again, not just the price points, but for the first time in a long time, gamers are going to have the opportunity to probably bypass that entry-level card of the 3060 and go straight to the 3070 or 3080 and get so much bang for their buck that it's going to be almost too hard not to consider that low mid-tier or that mid-high tier of the 3070 and 3080 respectively. I know I'm going to be looking at upgrading. I run a 980 myself, so I'm several generations behind, but the 980 still is doing well. This next generation, Joey, I have a feeling NVIDIA, it's probably going to be another 10, 11, 12 years before NVIDIA can do something like this again, where that jump from the 20 series to 30 series is so massive like this. But these cards are absolutely incredible. If you're a content creator or a streamer, you're definitely going to be looking at these cards. They are finely tuned to really assist in single PC streaming, utilizing the power of that graphics card. It is absolutely ridiculous, the information that came out on these cards.
Absolutely redonkulous, sir. I mean, one of the other things to look at here, guys, so step back for a second, look at the full gaming landscape. So everyone is awaiting these new consoles. You have the Xbox Series X, you have the PlayStation 5, all these big consoles, and then people are trying to find Switches too. Xbox is over here touting, 12 teraflops of speed or whatever it's doing, 12 teraflops of graphic power. It's supposed to be this super powerful console, more powerful than last generation by a ton. On the Sony PlayStation side, they're touting this giant this SSD that's supposed to be like lightning fast. It's supposed to be able to bring files up very quickly. It's supposed to reduce load times a ton. That's all beautiful. So what does NVIDIA come out with? It comes out with 30 teraflops in these new graphics cards and something like triple the speed, maybe quadruple the speed of what Sony is saying their SSD is at. So NVIDIA just came out and absolutely destroyed the console market just a couple months before their release. And on top of that, John, everyone awaiting these console prices, NVIDIA's like, oh, we'll drop the price now. And it's probably about $500 to $1,000 lower than you expected. I mean, NVIDIA truly breaking news here. Not only that, but the other level to this is if you look at both consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, they both decided to go AMD for this this upcoming generation. This is NVIDIA also saying, hey, AMD, we know you're a competitor out there. Your stock looks great on the market, but we're about to demolish your RDNA 2 stuff. So they have come out here. They've hit the console makers. They have hit their biggest competitor to AMD. And on top of that, people, like John said, who might not have necessarily been looking for a graphics card upgrade in a sense. Now these are so cheap out there and so much stronger than the cards a lot of people have that they might start looking a little bit earlier than they normally would as well. So NVIDIA coming out really, John, and gloves off and everything, they are just punching hard against all these competitors.
Yeah, I think it's funny that the social media reaction that came out after NVIDIA's announcement, leading up to it, everyone was talking about how consoles are finally catching up to PC. They're like, oh, PC gamers are in trouble. The PS5 and the new Xbox look so great. The specs, they're right up there with a lot of, mid-tier gaming computers, and we don't have to pay the same price that you guys have to, and blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, NVIDIA comes out and just lays out these beautiful graphics cards. And we're just like, oh, what was that? You're still playing catch up? You're now 15 years behind again? Okay, please. 15 years is obviously an over-exaggeration, but still, these graphic cards are going to be taking PC gaming to a whole different level that console games are going to wish they're going to be able to touch within the next 10 years. These graphics cards are truly, truly impressive, not just from a speed standpoint, but just the amount of cores. I believe, let's see, they have... they added hyper-threading. Is it hyper-threading? I think it is hyper-threading. Or am I mistaking that with the processor?
They just pretty. They super
It's
pretty.
just, they are, this is 21st century technology at its finest. These graphics cards, if you are a gamer, I guarantee your favorite streamer is going to be getting these. I guarantee you almost every esport organization is going to be upgrading to the NVIDIA graphics card if they don't have a deal with AMD. These graphics cards are that impressive. Like, I didn't switch to the 10 series because I wasn't that impressed with the bump up from the 9 series. I didn't switch to the 20 series because I wasn't that impressed still with the bump up from the 10 over the 9. Also, my 980 still performs better than the low end market on the 20 series as well. My 980 is nowhere close to the RTX 30 series. The 20 series, nowhere close to the 30, and the 10, nowhere close to the 30 as well. NVIDIA really putting their foot down, really telling everyone they're the king of the castle when it comes to graphics card technology.
Now, one little disclaimer to listeners. I've heard through a few channels that they're having some heating issues where they could be not catching on fire, but overheating different parts of the PC. So again, that's something that's common with new technology, whether it be that first generation of consoles, whether it be a new graphics card. It's definitely something that needs to be worked out those first couple months. So if you are looking at getting one of these, maybe just wait for a few more of those reviews to come out. Like, what is it? Tom's Hardware is usually a pretty good one, I feel like. There's a few other ones out there. Newegg usually has some good user reviews. So definitely wait, take a look at those before you completely invest into this. But again, it does look like a very good deal on paper. And once they get those little kinks worked out, I'm sure this is going to be an excellent card for a lot of users.
And just one more reviewer out there. Linus Tech Tips is absolutely fantastic when it comes to reviewing hardware. Definitely pay attention to his review when it comes out as well.
Moving over to a little bit of a political bit of news here for South Korea. A new bill has been introduced in South Korea to exempt people who've made significant contributions to South Korea's global image through pop culture and or esports to delay their military service until age 30. John, this has been an issue, not necessarily in North America as much as it has been in Europe in the Chinese and South Korean scenes, where players will get pulled to end up doing some kind of military service. One of the biggest 80 carries in Europe, Forgiven, was pulled because he had to do military service with his home country of Greece. On top of that, South Korea now making some moves. They're saying if you are someone who has significantly contributed to our image, whether it be pop culture, as musicians, artists, or as an esports professional, which you gotta love the fact that that's actually included in there. This is a big deal. So this is saying you can play out your career as an esports professional, and then at the age of 30, we're going to opt you back into that military service. Again, not the most fortunate thing for a lot of people in these other countries. We are lucky here in the United States to not have to be drafted, at least in the last 100 or so years. But on top of that, this is something that's going to completely change the landscape, maybe not just in South Korea. This could be something we can continue to see more throughout Europe as well. In particular, they haven't mentioned what a significant contribution is yet. A lot of people analyzing this are thinking this is like a faker document more than anything. World-renowned mid laner faker over there on SKT1 in the South Korean scene. There's a few others they mentioned, like BTS is another big one. So on top of that, I think the bigger thing here is what is the contribution? Are we talking they brought in tons of fans? They brought in revenue for the country. They brought in viewership for the country. What exactly is the curriculum of this bill? That part we don't know. We can assume it's going to be these high-level players, but how high level do they have to be to really to apply, I guess, for this bill to end up getting out of that military service?
So Korea already has several rules like this in place, especially when it comes to traditional sports. Son, who plays for Tottenham, also the Korean national team in soccer, this was something that he was really focused on because he fell into that age category where he would have to serve his 2 years in the Republic of Korea's army. So he was really focused on getting that deferment, which in that case was that he had to win a major championship that brought honor to Korea. And in that sense, when Korea won the Asian Games, the gold medal, that gave him that exemption. And then he was able to defer that for several more years until he finally got another deferral where he only had to do 1 year, and he served it during the COVID crisis this year when the Premier League kind of shut down for a bit. So it worked out quite well for him. So I would think that this is going to be on the same line for esports, where, I would imagine winning worlds for a South Korean team, being an icon in Korea. BTS really is kind of like that gold standard where you mention one bad thing about BTS and you have 5 million subtweets hitting at you. The fact that BTS is able to raise money for a lot of great fundraisers and organizations around the world to help try to make the world a better place through their music. If you don't follow K-pop too much, there's a lot of really high K-pop bands that end up having to break up because of the required military service for all males by a certain age. And after 2 years of that service, that group never really is the same once they come back, because they usually end up having to split it up because they're all of different age groups. So I like this. I think it's a smart move for Korea if they're going to continue on that path of requiring every male citizen of Korea to join the military for 2 years, to have this exemption for entertainers and esport personalities as well.
Absolutely. So a big deal there. We'll go ahead and keep track of that one and what exactly it does end up implying as far as these esport athletes and pop stars go. So we will keep you updated as that bill continues to move forward. In what do they have over there? Is it considered like a Congress type of thing? I actually don't know the South Korean government that well.
Sort of. So I not diving too much into politics there, but yes, their government is, I'm not gonna say identical, but it is structured after what we have here in the United States to a point. And D-Rod's asking, what exactly do they do on their service? So they actually serve. There was a fairly popular K-pop band that 2 of their members had to go in and do their 2 years. They were stationed on the DMZ, the border between North and South Korea, as DMZ military police, guarding that border, which is considered one of the most dangerous places in the world because the amount of landmines that are still active there from the Korean War. So they're actually they actually have that potential of being on the front line on that border. A lot of times, if they're someone of public interest, they'll get an admin job. Maybe they'll be in a division that's not going to see too much combat. It really depends, because there is an aptitude test, kind of like what the U.S. has here in the ASVAB, that really kind of determines what their MOS or what their job would be.
See, look at this, guys. We bring you esports content, gaming content, military politics. It all comes together here on Level Up. Good times. Moving into our next topic, that is PUBG Mobile, John. I know one of your favorite games out there. They have announced an updated league structure. Not only is it still around, it is thriving. Their new league structure includes a $2 million prize pool. On top of that, they had a record-breaking 1.1 million concurrent viewers tune in and watch over 40 million hours of the PUBG Mobile World League for its first season 0. Now, it says record-breaking. That is nowhere near the numbers that League of Legends pulls in. So I'm guessing that it means record-breaking for a mobile title. I don't think a mobile title has come that close. You could argue Fortnite, but it's cross-play, so I'm not going to argue that point. The next portion of the season is going to look a little different, though. they're going to be debuting a brand new point system for the PUBG Mobile Pro League Season 2. These are all mouthfuls. They have designed to improve the balance between placement as well as kills achieved throughout games. So the way PUBG works, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. It's like, it's complicated as hell. It's like if you put a pro league with a semi-pro league versus a public league. And the way they do it is throughout the calendar year, they alternate between those three versions of this league. So we have gone from the semi-pro league into the actual pro league here. And the actual pro league is the one that will have this new point setup in place. Again, overly complicated, just like PUBG and all their bugs that they got going on over there. But John, it just continues to thrive as a mobile game. Not as much a big PC game anymore, but on mobile, the numbers continue to rise.
Yeah. It's only mainly big, like you said, Joey, on the mobile market in Asia. PUBG is really one of those games that kind of struggled a lot here in North America. And there's a lot of different competition, again, in that same market when it comes to battle royales. And it feels like PUBG kind of really missed their mark here in the Western Hemisphere. But, I mean, look, 1.1 million concurrent views is really nothing to turn your nose up at. That's a pretty solid viewership, if you will. 40 million hours of PUBG Mobile World League is pretty impressive as well. Yeah, in comparison to some of your god tier esport titles out there, it doesn't really touch it. But I think the biggest thing here is the fact that it's a mobile game. Joe, you and I have talked about mobile games, and we have absolutely demolished another mobile league of a game that I will not even say because I'm just so with it. But yeah, so I think overall, I think it's a big breakthrough for mobile gaming.
Yeah, absolutely a big game or breakthrough for that. I'm already reading the next thing. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, I'm not going to compare it to Rocket League, but I feel like it has some of the similar struggles where it just jumps around so much throughout the season. If I'm watching League of Legends, if I'm watching Overwatch, if I'm watching a top tier esport, I can watch my team throughout the full season. When it comes to PUBG, when it comes to Rocket League, they just jump around so freaking much. Like I can go a month without watching my team compete. I could go a couple months without watching my team compete here in PUBG Mobile. It feels so broken up that it doesn't really allow fandom to really set in. So the fact that they are carrying this many concurrent viewers, I think is absolutely impressive. Not only because it hits that 1 million mark, but because they're finding ways to connect people, even if their team, even if they're professional players that they follow or streamers or whoever, if they're not necessarily competing that month, it seems that they're still finding ways to pull in viewers as well. Okay, this next one I'm excited for and upset about. So Nintendo does Nintendo things. They're going to come out and sell you a $60 game regardless if the game is 10 years old. This time they have decided that they're coming out with Super Mario 3D All-Stars. It's going to include Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Amazing. 3 great titles. You have the best title on 64. I believe Sunshine was on GameCube, and then Super Mario Galaxy on Wii. 3 incredible Mario titles. Very good. This is a great deal. They're going to make you pay $60 for it. Again, I don't think it's the end of the world. It is 3 great titles over 3 generations, and they're going to give it to you for $60 in this bundle. This is the part that I have issues with. They're saying it's only available until March of next year. So they are saying, if you want this digital copy, instead of going to a GameStop or if you're near the last Blockbuster out there, you're going to have to buy this before March. This is something Nintendo continues to do here and there where they put time-limited stuff out. And I get it. It sells well. It's one of those big market tricks against consumers. It really plays with that mental game where, and League of Legends does it all the time too. You can buy this skin while it's available for the next 2 weeks. But after those 2 weeks, you have to get lucky enough to roll it in a chest or whatever, or find a sale later on. It's one way that people end up pushing content out the door. That to me is kind of what we're seeing Nintendo here. Again, it's a few months. I mean, what is that, John? Like 7 months, 9 months, something like that. Maybe even 6. It actually might be less.
It's it coincides with the stupid deadline I have at my big boy job. With that April 1st deadline. So that is, Joey, 8 months from right now. But when it launches September 18th, it's going to be closer to like 7 months. So, FOMO's real, Joey. FOMO is a great marketing tactic because there's people like me who have massive FOMO And if there's something I see that I really want and I know it's for a limited time only, it's probably going to force me to find a way to justify that purchase and forego at least 2 meals one day of the week so I can get what I want. FOMO's real. It is a real thing. D-Rod calls me the king of FOMO. That might be my new gamer tag. Who knows? King of the FOMO king. There we go. That feels like a trademark violation on Joey's name. Anywho, but yeah, I don't like it. I think it's a terrible deal. I get why they're doing it, but I just don't like it. I don't have a Switch, so it doesn't bother me personally. Mainly because I still can't find a Switch anywhere. Thank you for everyone for buying those up during the pandemic. But yeah, so there you go. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't have a giant issue with it. Like, okay, the deadline at the end, I think I have an issue with. The $60 price for 3 games that all used to be $60 is kind of a deal for Nintendo games, to be honest. Now, with that being said, if we look at the other console makers out there, Xbox is saying you can play 3 generations of games on your new Xbox console, 4 if you include the new gen. And then Sony is now dropping some games back for PlayStation 4 as well. So on your PS5, you can play PlayStation 4 games. On your Xbox Series X, you can play Xbox One games, Xbox 360, or original Xbox games. And then we have Nintendo over here saying, we have great games, and you can play them on whatever system you want, but you're going to pay for them again. And it's just one of those things that just Nintendo has done over and over, regardless. Like sales in Nintendo are what, like $10 off most games? If you look at a sale on Xbox or PlayStation, they're going to give you a free game. They're going to give you 50% off. They're going to give you tons and tons of sales. Nintendo knows their IPs are as strong as they are. Legend of Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong. They're going to sell them to you for a good old $60. Maybe if you're lucky, you get a 5 to 10% sale and you get a little bit off of that. But it works for them. They have tons of money in the bank. They continue to develop as a developer, and they just put more and more games out, even if it is remastered games at a big price tag. But hey, it's Nintendo. I'm guaranteeing this is probably going to sell mad amounts off the shelves. This will probably break the record that Smash Brothers and Animal Crossing set, if I had to guess as well. Absolutely amazing. Nintendo things, though. Upcoming game releases. So September 4th, that is tomorrow, guys. Marvel Avengers is going to launch on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Stadia. I believe it's also coming to next-gen consoles, but unfortunately, guys, we don't even have prices for those yet, so you're going to have to wait for those launches. And then on top of that, NBA 2K21 tips off tonight as well, John. Go ahead and dive into that. Whether you got the Kobe edition, the regular edition, whatever platform you got it on, that action begins tonight as well. I think it unlocks at midnight. I know we have some NBA 2K fans in chat. They can confirm that. But yeah, overall, some pretty solid games coming out this week. We had Tell Me Why earlier in the week. Wasteland 3 was at the end of last week, and now Marvel Avengers and NBA 2K.
Yeah, a lot of hype around the new NBA 2K title coming out here tonight. I know a lot of the 2K League teams are going to be holding watch parties with their pro players as they demo the new game. And they try it out for the first time, which I think it's probably not the first time for them. They were probably in that closed beta. But yeah, I'm expecting to hear some mixed reviews. In all honesty, I mean, most sports titles do have mixed reviews. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of hype around this one in NBA 2K21, especially with the Mamba edition being the guaranteed way you can continue your 2K journey, if you will, from this generation to next.
I'm not going to spend much time on this, but okay, I get it. We're going to honor Kobe. I like it. I think it's great. Mamba edition is awesome. The fact that you're gating next-gen games to that edition is trash to me. Like, if you want to get the Kobe edition, do it because of Kobe. Don't do it because you need to get it for that next-gen console. I hate that 2K is doing this. I want to go out there, buy the Kobe edition because I want to honor him as a player. I want that special edition model, not because I want to buy that so I don't have to pay $60 or $70 on a new console. 2K, it just drives me crazy. And on top of that, okay, I played this demo. Oh, this is going to light me up. I'm going to pause. I see you over there. Don't worry. This is not going much longer. This demo. So I've been playing NBA 2K. I just started like a couple weeks ago. It was on Game Pass. I downloaded it. I've been enjoying it. We've been hitting some threes. We've been getting that green action going so I can wreck Panicking Pat later on in 2K21, hopefully. But they have this demo out, right? So then they end up throwing a horizontal shot meter. I'm over here practicing on a vertical one on 2K20, and they don't even give me an option to change it. I have to go from looking up and down to looking side to side. Like, what? Hello, Take Two. What is going on here? I had to do a Take Two. When I looked at that meter, I was like, say what? Yeah, not a fan, dude. Not a fan at all. Oh, I just saw you crack up in the corner of my eye. So that's one thing. Like, I'm hoping there's customizable meters in this new game, and D-Rod can go ahead and confirm that for us once she gets a chance to play it, because I'm going to be a little anxious if they end up switching completely to horizontal.
Joey, I haven't seen that much passion come out of you in a long, long time. That wasn't
Dude, I was
related.
pissed. I was so excited for this demo, and I'm like, what the heck? It's like Bridge Constructor Zombie Edition or whatever that thing was called.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally understand. You know, when you change up the meter that you use to judge and gauge your shot, I mean, that's a massive learning curve you now have to relearn. And I'm right there with you. It, like, deep down, it really bothers the crap out of me that they're using Kobe as an excuse to gate next generation console guaranteed gameplay on. You know, if you're going to honor Kobe, you don't put a price tag on it. You don't put, you know, you don't gatekeep the ability to continue to play your game on the next generation when, I mean, let's be real here. You knew as a developer that the next gen was coming out. Like, you fully knew that. And now you're going to say, oh, you have to buy the most premium edition of this game to make sure you can still play it on the next gen if you do choose to upgrade. And if that's not enticing enough, because for some people it's not, we're gonna call it the Mamba edition. We're gonna try to honor Kobe by charging over $100 for this game, and also gatekeep next gen gameplay behind it as well. I do think it's trashy. I think it's sleazy. I think it's a stab to the NBA community. It's a stab to the Lakers organization. It's a stab to Kobe and his family. I think they meant good by doing it, but it comes across as a money grab. It's the same reaction people have when bands that have band members pass away, if it's a lead vocalist, when all of a sudden magically all these demos and all these pre-recorded songs come out, and this band hasn't been relevant for years, and now all of a sudden they're putting out these unreleased raw tracks and they're charging a premium for it. You know, that it bothers me. It bothers me. You are using a person's death to financial gain. Now tell me that the difference between the normal game price and the Kobe edition is going to be donated to a charity that Kobe loved. Tell me it's going to be donated to the organization his daughter played for, you know, that they were en route to flying to a tournament for. You know, tell me it's going to something, and then you want to know what? That tells me you actually care. You actually care about the message, about what Kobe stood for, about what he stood for in the, not just the community, but in the NBA. And, you know, that would show some initiative from Take Two saying, hey, look, you know, yes, we're going to charge a higher price, but X amount of dollars are going to be going to this organization that Kobe founded or that Kobe was involved in. X is going to go to the organization that his daughter played with. And then this will also guarantee you next gen access as well. Do it that way. It's not sleazy. It actually works out. And I feel like you can justify the price point then.
No, 100%. And that's what I was going to say too. Like, give it to charity. I say you don't gate the next gen entry. I think you give that free regardless of the edition. You make money go to charity from this. And on top of that, and I don't know what it includes, but I would throw some kind of like Kobe collection in there. Maybe they get a DVD. Maybe they get some kind of footage of Kobe highlights or whatever. I would throw something like that in there as well. Maybe a poster. I don't know. I just don't like the way they went about this. I think it's, you use the word sleazy. I'm going to go with that. I think sleazy is a good call here. I mean, the other thing just to look at from perspective, if we look at the other big sports company, that's EA, they're coming across less consumer friendly than EA. That is not a position anyone wants to be in.
And that's saying something. That's saying something if you're coming across more sleazy than EA.
I mean, that's just bad. Like, EA is over here. They didn't want to do it, but they agreed to say, hey, you get that free gen upgrade. And I think it's like time limited, like 3 or 6 months or whatever. But they're still giving it. They're giving that free upgrade to a game they really reprint for us every single year, give or take a couple of player upgrades, some new modes or so, some upgraded graphics, etc. But yeah, Take Two here, not the prettiest of plays. I like the idea of the Mamba edition. I don't necessarily like the underhanded stuff that it stands for behind it. I like Mamba. I love Kobe. I think it's a great idea. But again, just the way Take Two approach this, not the cleanest. And again, the horizontal meter, it's not as serious as the Kobe side, but I'm not happy about that either. Just have to throw that out there. From there, John, we have enough roasting NBA 2K. We are excited for that release. We'll have to see how that plays later this week. I believe it unlocks again at midnight tonight. Let's talk a little bit about esports because the Washington Justice just pulled off a pretty little upset, a 12 over an 11 seed in the Overwatch League playoffs. We also saw Boston Uprising upset the Houston Outlaws 3-1. And again, that Justice score was 3-0 over the Vancouver Titans. That sets us up for a nice little playoff round 2, sir. We have LA Gladiators up against the Toronto Defiant. LA coming in as the 6 seed and Toronto as the 9 seed. John, I'm going to cleanly take LA out of this one. I do not see Toronto giving up much of a fight.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think LA takes it.
Over to our next one, we have the Atlanta Reign, who have had a very short reign so far this season, up against the Boston Uprising in their recent upset. I am going to take the Reign out of this one, but I think it will be close.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Reign also. I think that's a solid choice. Reign over Boston for sure.
And the next one is the number 8 Dallas Fuel up against our very own number 12 Washington Justice. This is a bit of a fanboy take, but honestly, I think it's well grounded. You have Decay, who just got released from the Dallas Fuel, now coming over to the Washington Justice. He just played an amazing game for them against Vancouver. I am taking the 12-seeded Justice to upset Dallas here, and I'm going to take it 3-1. I'm going to play cocky. I think Justice is going to surprise them.
So Washington's played Dallas quite well in the past. There are two teams that have met quite a bit in the past couple of months. Dallas has taken all the wins, but they've all been close. Will Decay be that wild card for the Justice moving forward? He might be. I'm going to take it in 5 maps. I'm going to take the Justice in 5. I don't think it's going to be a 3-1 wipe. I do think that we're going to get a 5th map out of this.
I think it's possible. I just want them to stun the Fuel. I want them to come here and pour the water of justice upon them. There is going to be no fires lit by the Fuel on, what is it, Saturday, September 4th? No, that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
This is coming in hot tomorrow.
No, that's tomorrow.
As you can tell, the tequila is setting in, chat. We are having fun over here. Good times. Into playoff round 3, depending on who the winners are, we have the Philadelphia Fusion as the number 1 seed waiting there, the number 4 Florida Mayhem, the number 2 San Francisco Shock, and the number 3 Paris Eternal. So we will wait to see how they play out. With that, John, let's jump from the NA bracket to the Asian bracket. In playoff round 1, which kicks off tomorrow for the Asian side, we have Chengdu Hunters up against the London Spitfire. Chengdu coming in with the top seed, or not the top seed, but the higher seed at 6 against that 7. I will take Chengdu, John. I think it does go... I'm going to go the distance on this one. I think 3-2.
Joe, before I answer this question, correct me if I'm wrong, but London is in England. And England is in Europe, and Europe is not Asia. I don't understand this. I don't understand why this is called the Asian bracket. And you spit the London Spitfire in there.
I mean, I have heard that Indian food is very good in London, so maybe they're just kind of taking their Asian food roots a little bit into this. I have no idea. I guess it's closer. I mean, New York is in this bracket too. Why the heck is New York not in the NA bracket?
Wait. Why is New York? Oh my god.
Welcome to the Overwatch League.
I'll take the Hunters just because fighting pandas are awesome.
Fighting pandas it is.
Yeah.
The winner of... What the heck kind of bracket is this?
It's bad. It's a bad bracket.
Yeah, fam. I don't know how this goes. Someone is going to go on to play the number 3 New York Excelsior, and someone will play the number 4 Hangzhou Spark. I don't see either one of these teams going up and winning against New York or Hangzhou, if I'm being honest.
Nah, I'm right there with you as well.
So we'll see how that plays out. Again, they have North American teams. They have European teams, all in the Asian bracket. The bracket looks crazy in general, so we'll see. The NA bracket looking a little bit cleaner. And, John, if you had to predict someone, I think this... Well, we have a little bit longer to predict. We'll wait on that one. Does look like it wraps up on September 13th. So we have one more week to mess around with that. We'll have to wait to see how this weekend's matchups play out first. With that, we'll hop over to League of Legends, our last scene to touch on today. The LEC playoffs, John, we have just a couple matchups left, 2 in fact. In the semifinal is G2 up against Rogue. G2 losing to Fnatic earlier, while Rogue took down Mad Lions 3-0 after a loss to Fnatic. Both these teams losing to Fnatic, not just because I'm a fan, because Fnatic has shown up finally this summer. It's been a little bit of a long struggle watching them, but now G2 and Rogue. The newcomers in Rogue versus the veteran kings in G2. Who are you taking, John, and why?
I'm taking G2. They're coming on hot. Rogue, congratulations, you beat Mad Lions. Mad Lions has been fluttering. Rogue also lost to Fnatic earlier 3-0. So I feel like Rogue's ability to be that like underdog that's taking everyone by storm, I feel like that's long gone. I think G2 is just too classy might be the wrong word, but too experienced, if you will. You don't think G2 is too experienced?
No, not too classy. Are you kidding me?
No, I used the wrong word. I corrected myself there. They're very experienced. They have a lot of players with that playoff experience, with the world experience. It's going to be tough. I think G2 takes it. It's probably, it wouldn't surprise me if it was a 3-0, but I'll give Rogue 1. I'll say 3-1.
Yeah, I think it's G2 as well. I think it's 3-1 or maybe even 3-2. They've been pushed by young teams, Mad Lion, Rogue. Who's the other one? There's one more out there that has kind of pushed G2 a little bit throughout the season. I think they're beatable. I don't think they're an invincible team. At the same point, having that veteran leadership, I think, is an advantage when it comes to the later rounds of playoffs. Rogue is really coming in there. They have Vander and Hansama in the bot lane, but other than that, it's very young players, for the most part, really rookies throughout that lineup. And I think this is where we start to see that really show up. Now that they're here, now that they're in the semifinals, yes, they won the summer split as far as the regular season goes, but now you're coming into the intensity of a best-of-5 game series. Rogue, again, did very well in their last one against Mad Lions, but before that did fall pretty cleanly. I believe it was 3-0 in favor of Fnatic. So I will go ahead and take G2 here, and I'm going to go with, I think you said it as well, 3-1, John?
Yep.
Yeah, I think 3-1 for G2. I think the veteran experience comes through. With that being said, the winner will go ahead and take on Fnatic on Sunday. This is another curious one. Fnatic, I think, is beatable. I think Rogue could beat them. They did end up beating Rogue earlier on, and then G2, they came out 3-2 in the winner's bracket final. If it's G2, I think G2 actually takes this one, John, if I'm being honest. I think we will see it go 5 games again. I think mistakes will be made on both sides, and I think G2 probably comes out 3-2 if it's them. If it's Rogue, I'm going to take Fnatic 3-1.
I agree with you 100%.
100%. John, we haven't taken it out in a while. Can you pull out the magical pogo stick with sound effects?
No.
Oh, my gosh. Well, guys, that does it. We can't get to NA. Over to NA. We have a couple matchups left over there, guys. TSM. Fanboys, we know you're out there. You are back to Worlds. Welcome back. You did take down John's Cloud9 in the process. And then we have Team Liquid going against them in this matchup this week. This is kind of the third place matchup, so whoever wins ends up with that second place shot going to the finals, and the loser gets that third place spot. TSM, TL, John, who are you taking?
Team Liquid. I don't care. TSM, TSM doesn't even matter because they're not going to make it out of the play-in round. I don't even care. TSM's a joke, especially when it goes to Worlds. I have zero faith in TSM to represent North America. I think Team Liquid is going to raffle stomp them.
Raffle stomp. Hello, fam. So TSM went 3-0 against Dignitas. Wait a minute. They got 3-0'd by Golden Guardians. Then they went 3-0 against Dignitas. They went 3-2 against Golden Guardians in the rematch, 3-1 against Cloud9, and that's how they got here. TL just lost to FlyQuest 2-3. TL is going to win. I don't know if I want to go 3-2 or 3-1. I kind of want to lean 3-1 here. I think TL is a much stronger team than TSM, especially if they can shut down Bjergsen in the mid lane. So I will go 3-1. I would not be stunned if it goes 5 games, though, and becomes 3-2 Liquid. That brings us to the winner with FlyQuest. Since we both took TL, let's go ahead and say FlyQuest up against TL. I think TL could come out of this. Tactical has looked really strong in their series. FlyQuest ended up winning on the back of Santorin, if I had to make an educated guess in a sense. Like Solo performed well, Power of Evil performed well, but the way Santorin really attempted to manage the flow of the game ended up being very successful. I think this goes 5 games, and I think you could flip a coin for the winner. FlyQuest won it the first time, so I want to lean toward FlyQuest again, but I would not be surprised if Liquid takes it. I'll go FlyQuest for the sake of, what are they, Sea Quest? They're funding like Sea Urchin Life or something? Sea Life? I don't know. FlyQuest 3-2 over Liquid.
I'm going to say Team Liquid learned from their mistakes against them in the semifinals. I think Team Liquid moves on to the finals, and I think it does go 5 games. I think Team Liquid pulls it out in game 5 to be the LCS champions.
Oh, was that French? Is that what we're calling it?
But it was not as bad as anything Panicking Pat has been saying recently during his Discord streams of Sea of Thieves. So,
ladies and gentlemen, wow, we just went there. John, we'll go ahead and grab your French baguette and wrap up today's show. Oh, actually, guys, one more update. I'm sorry. The field for Worlds, we have a big breaking update. This came in, I think, last night or the night before. The field size has been downed. We are now moving from 24 to 22. This is not Riot wanting to do this. This is the fact that 2 teams that qualified from Vietnam are not being allowed to travel. The Vietnamese government said, hey, we are not going to allow you to go to Shanghai, China to play. As a result, Riot could have extended to a few other teams like a Cloud9 in the LCS. Some of the arguments against that were they'd have to choose which region they end up going with. A lot of people say like the LEC 5th seed is stronger than some of these other teams. No offense to Cloud9. But I think that's one of the big things. Instead of trying to decide between all these other leagues and who to grant that seed to, they did end up just saying, hey, we're going to shorten the size. They're now going with 2 groups of 5 for the play-in, so a little bit of a different approach than we've seen in previous years. But again, that full size now down to 22, unfortunately, because those teams cannot make it to this year's Worlds. Now, John, you can grab that baguette and wrap us up for today's episode.
Does it have to be a baguette, though? I don't know if I want it to be.
I mean, I don't know that many. Like, you can have a crepe, I guess.
A crepe?
Some French wine. Yes.
No, I will go for some French wine for sure. Like, don't tease me like that, Joey. It's not nice.
Oh. I love the French, by the way.
Do you? Nation, Joey loves the French, but unfortunately that love is going to have to wait until next week, as that will be the end of this edition of LvLUp Live. But before you go, head on over to patreon.com/OTN and consider becoming a part of the Overtime Network. In return, you'll get access to exclusive content that nobody else in the world can get unless they are a part of OTN Media. If you haven't already, make sure you follow the show here on Twitch to catch the next episode of LvLUp Live. If you listen to the show on our podcast feed, leave us a review. LvLUp Podcast is available on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. We would love to hear from you. In fact, we love to hear from the entire LvLUp Nation, Joey. So much we have other ways for them to interact with us. Joey, where else can LvLUp Nation go to hit us up?
LvLUp Nation. Head on over to Twitter at LvLUp Live. That is LvLUP Live. In addition to that, you can follow OTN, our umbrella company, on Facebook, Twitter as well at OTN Media, and on Instagram at OTN_media. Last but not least, LvLUp fam, you can hit us up on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/OTN Media. Find us over there. We stream LvLUp Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as well as a number of other streams throughout the week.
All right, make sure you tune in this upcoming Monday, September 7th, as we cover the latest and greatest in gaming and esports news. Do your ears a favor, hit that follow, hit that sub, hit that button to know when the next episode of LvLUp Live is ready for your viewing pleasures. We will catch you all Monday. Have a great weekend. Remember, be nice to your fellow gamers online. And Joey, as always,
LvLUp.